Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Monday. It is Monday. It's a new week. It is 9/11. It is 9/11. September 11th. It has been 22 years since our big tragedy. Older sibling and I were just talking about it this morning because, we both remember it pretty well, like it was yesterday. That was a heck of a day. But, and the weeks or the week or so that followed. But we are on day 23 of body mindfulness. But the reason I wanted to bring up September 11th is I wanted to talk about it really quick. You know, 22 years is a long time. 22 years is a very long time. I mean, I have nephews and nieces that weren't even around when 9/11 happened, and I mean they're all still in their youth, their preteens, their teens now, and some of them are almost young adults. But the one thing I wish we could convey to those who get so uppity nowadays and all this cancel culture crap and all this, I know, I'm sorry. I mean, some people, definitely deserve to be kind of put back in their place, but I think we take it too far. I really do. I think we take it too far. I think, we are supposed to be about second chances. We're supposed to be about, getting people to understand their actions and getting people to learn from their actions. And canceling people is not how we do it. And one of the reasons I'm bringing that up is, tomorrow's 9/12. And 9/12 has a very personal significance, importance to me. But in context to what I'm talking about now, it was the day our whole country came together. It didn't matter what color you were. It didn't matter what politics you sat behind. All that mattered was we came together as one. We became one people. People had flags out, like the American flag out, people were just so kind to each other. And, for the next couple of years, especially, when we were reminded, the first anniversary, the second anniversary, the 10th anniversary, then all of a sudden things seem to change. And we seem to have lost our way, in this country. And everyone's more, I don't know, I don't want to say vigilant because that's not the right word. Volatile, I think is a good word. And that's not everybody, but it's like you're either here or you're here. It's like polar opposites, and I think somewhere in the middle is the rest of us, right? But there's people in every direction just being so negative, being so unkind, being so rude to one another, and just crass. And people did. The world seems to be ramping up in the wrong direction, the whole world. And, it wasn't just us who suffered that tragedy that day. I mean, this was the World Trade Center, okay? So there were a lot of people from different, countries that were there. Whoops, sorry. Banging on my desk over here so everything's falling. But one of the stories I remember that I really wanted to share, because this is really kind of a reminder of how we should be kinder to each other and how we should, love one another, and how if you're having a tiff with a family member that's reparable, then, maybe do it. If it's irreparable, I'm not going to tell you what to do. In fact, but if it's just a tiff, it's just an argument, there's, get back on board with these people, okay? Like I said, if it's irreparable, you do you. But it was, we were talking about a story this morning, and I thought about the woman in this story, because no matter what happened that day, no matter how the day ended, she was going to lose somebody. And it just kind of worked out that way. Her son was going on a trip to, he in his class, I guess when you're 14 over here, you go to DC, and I guess when you're 14 over there, you go to California. And her husband had taken the day off, and so they could see their son off, because this was a big trip, right? His first trip without mom and dad, just chaperones with the class. And the father worked in the Pentagon, and it just so happened that day when the plane crashed into the Pentagon, it was the one carrying their son. Interestingly enough, it crashed into the part of the building where the father worked. And so I told Sibling, I said, as a mother or a wife, I'm not even sure, how she would feel. Because that morning, no matter what happened, she was destined to lose somebody. If her son wasn't going anywhere, her husband would have died because he would have been at work. But it turned out the husband wanted to see the son off, so he took the day off, and their son died. And it felt very unfair. And, I would love to get into her mind, just to see how she handled that, how, the family moved forward with that. And, because that's, I don't even know if maybe some people think about that. It's been 22 years, and that's the first time I thought about that. I mean, the story just sticks out in my head because it was just so devastating, right? You take the day off, and first you think, wow, what a miracle, the father lived, but it's like, at what cost? At what cost? So I think it's a very stark reminder for us to be kinder to one another, because, everything we complain about goes out into the ether, and it becomes these rain clouds. Even in a bright sunny sky and a clear sky, they become, and I love rain, don't get me wrong, but it's more like, thunder and lightning, just people clapping back, right? That's what they call it, clapping back. And I get it. There are situations when we need to, and I'm not going to say anything because there have been times when I have stepped out of my comfort zone to stick up for other people. And I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just saying we all have these moments where we clap back. But sometimes it's over the smallest, dumbest things. Someone looks at you wrong. Road rage is crazy now. I mean, you can't blink at somebody without them freaking out. Or if somebody says something that might be a little off, well, I don't even know what to say, because I'm not saying that people shouldn't be held accountable. Absolutely. I've been through enough things in my life where people were not held accountable for the things that were done to me. But, I think we're in a situation where when people make a mistake, we need to stop coming at them with pitchforks and torches. We need to be better. We absolutely need to be better. If 9/11 taught us anything, it was the 9/12. There was a 9/12 project that went around about people just being together and, coming together and being one. And we need to find a way to do that. We need to find a way to stop finding reasons to fight with one another. We need to stop sitting there and saying, oh, well, you're blah, blah, blah because you don't agree with this. I mean, people have their own opinions. If you don't want to like them, that's your choice. But don't shame the people that, I mean, there's celebrities out there, right? And someone might say this, that, or the other. Oh, I can't believe that you still blah, blah, blah. It's like, you know what? These are things I'm a fan of. And it's like, it doesn't mean I agree with the person, because I absolutely do not agree with some of the things that some people say. But they're just people. They're just people that are well known. And instead of being angry, educate. Instead of canceling, educate. Say, look, you know what? This isn't right. And sometimes you might have to be harsh because some people just don't get it. And they need to be held accountable. But imagine yourself in someone else's shoes. Imagine you say something. Imagine that you've done something and you didn't mean to, you didn't think anything of it. Maybe you're of a different generation and, you've said something and you're like, and, you just, something flies out of your mouth and someone hears it and they just come at you, with the pitchforks and torches. Put yourself in those people's shoes, and I'm not talking about the extreme stuff. The extreme stuff, hey, let's hold people accountable for the dumb things they do. I mean, and I don't mean like something they say. Educate. There was a big story, a couple years back, I won't go into details, but where somebody ended up losing a hosting gig because someone dug something up from him 10 years prior that he had already apologized for over and over and over again, and then had to re-apologize for it. And somebody's sitting at their work table going, well, and they're in tears going, I can't believe you said that. I can't believe this, that, and the other. And they're like, but I apologized for it already. But they were holding them accountable again for something that had already passed. I mean, how petty are we when we go back just trying to find something on somebody? We all make mistakes. I've made bad choices in my life. I've had probably made choices that somebody will find a reason to hold against me. And instead of being judgy, we need to learn how to be patient, which is the perfect segue because today's topic is about patience. And it's like I said, I'm not a fan of cancel culture. I'm not. And I'm not saying, like I said, I want to make it very clear that when people do something wrong, they need to be held accountable for it, just like the rest of us are. If I say something and someone hears me, I expect them to be held accountable for it. But if you are going to sit here and, say nasty things about people you don't know, you better remember all the things you've done in your past. Do not throw stones in glass houses. Okay? Because all of us have done something that has hurt somebody else. All of us have said something that has hurt somebody else. And maybe they didn't hear us, maybe they did. We'll never know. I can't imagine half the people even realize that sometimes when they make comments about my weight, that I don't hear them. But now, I'm so different. It's like, you know what? If you got something to say it to my face. And I could probably say it a little less snotty, but it hurts. But I know I've said things under my breath. And it's been in the last 5 years where I've really, really tried to watch the things I say because I know how much I've been hurt by different things. And it wasn't just my weight now. It was my weight in the past. And it's just, people can be cruel. And like I said, a lot of times I think it has everything to do with insecurity. But that doesn't always mean that somebody means what they're saying. Have you ever gotten into a fight with someone and all of a sudden everybody starts hitting below the belt? And then you come back and you're, oh my God, I don't know what happened to me. I don't know why I said those things because I absolutely don't feel it and I don't mean it. And I truly believe that. A lot of people say, oh yeah, well, you know what? When you're angry, that's when it all... No, when you're angry... when you're angry, that's when, all the rules are dropped. And you start hitting below the belt because you're trying to find anything you can to hurt the other person and be the victor in that fight. But there is no victor in that fight. Everybody goes away feeling like shit. We got to be better. We got to do better. We've got to be better people. Tomorrow is the anniversary of my mom's passing. And I wasn't going to bring that up till tomorrow, but the reason I wanted to bring that up today is because my mom had a special gift of bringing people together. Her and I sometimes had a very complicated relationship. And I even told her that once. I said, why is it that you can help bring people together, but you and I have so many problems? And, we talked. She and I, well, we talked very loudly. But that was when I was in my early 20s. I was probably actually about 19 or 20. And after that, when we laid it all out on the table, I just understood. She said something, I said something, and it's like it clicked in our head. And I think I gave her a little more leeway. One of the things that clicked in my head was she's like, when she was yelling at me, we were yelling at each other. You were always going to be my baby, and you just have to understand that. And then I realized, you know what? My mom had a miscarriage when I was young, or before I was born, I should say. So, she only ended up with one child, and that was me. And of course, I came defective. And I couldn't tell her that. I don't make defective babies. Or she didn't. It runs in the family. It just happened. But my mom had a knack for bringing people together. My mom had a knack of reminding people, hey, love the people around you and this, that, and the other. And I brought that up to her and I said, why is it that you can tell all these other people that, but you treat me so differently? And that's when she says, well, you're my baby and you're always going to be my baby. And I just worry about you and I want the best for you and blah, blah, blah. So there was that. And I tried to be a little more lenient in the way I thought. I thought she was trying to be controlling. She was just worried about me. And unfortunately, that came out in sort of a controlling kind of way. But I think more of that wasn't to control me because she wanted to control my life. I think it felt like she was controlling because she was afraid of losing me. And I think she figured, whatever was going on in her mind. And maybe I just understand that now more so because, tomorrow is a very special day for me. Not just because it's my mom's anniversary of her passing, but after she passed, I kept some of her ashes, and I have really been feeling that it's about time to let them go. And I know some people think, oh, well, why aren't you? My mom's buried. Okay, she's not sitting on someone's mantle. She's not sitting in someone's bedroom. She is in a grave in San Diego. The rest of her ashes. And I'm just giggling because there was a whole ordeal trying to get the ashes, and my dad and I were just like out of our heads, just being kind of stupid and silly and just dumb at the same time, all rolled into one. Like, well, he's like, well, how much of her do you need? It's like, well, how much do you need to put in the ground? It's like, we used a Baskin Robbins spoon to scoop her out of the bag, and it's just like, and then he washed it off, and I freaked out because I'm like, you just washed mom down into the ocean. And it's just their ashes. I can feel my mom's presence a lot, especially when I need her the most. I don't mean to be weird with anybody because I know some people don't believe in this stuff, but there are times when life gets really, really hard, and sometimes I'll be laying in bed and I'll just feel like fingers in my hair, and not in a creepy way, like in horror movies, right? And that's what my mom used to do when I was upset. She would run her fingers through my hair. She would just kind of run her hand through my hair. Of course, my mom loved my hair because it was so curly, and she had to pay for her curls. But sometimes I can feel that. I can feel that from Mom Barbara too. Before my mom passed away, sometimes I could feel that. So there's something gentle about that. And I know some people will be like, "Oh my God!" But I know because I can feel it. And I know I spent about 20 minutes talking about this, but I think it's important for us to remember these things. I think it's important for us to really kind of buckle down and ask ourselves, is that comment I want to make out loud to somebody worth it? I mean, if you're sitting with friends and you're just being dumb, hey, we've all done that, right? I mean, I've said stupid things, and we all do. I still do. Sibling and I have some very interesting conversations that are just privy to us. I mean, nothing negative or bad, but just, God, it's like, I swear like a sailor sometimes, and bless her heart, she deals with it, even though she's not a big fan of swear words, but it's just sometimes how we are. And some people find it offensive and I don't. So, I don't care. When people call me the C word, it's like, it's cute how you think that hurts me, because it doesn't. They're just words. But words can't hurt. And, I've noticed with the uptick of social media, especially on Twitter, people, especially now, since Twitter got sold, there's so many more trolls on there, and people wonder why I keep my Facebook closed to just people I know, because I don't need people trolling me. All right, I get enough people on my public posts that say, oh, hi, I've seen your post for a while and we're not friends yet. Can you friend? It's like, come on, seriously, you guys keep changing the picture, but you're using the same script. I'm not stupid. And they pick on the older ladies because they think that we're desperate. I'm not desperate. If I find somebody or my person finds me, that's great. That's great. But I'm not going to sit there and be duped into giving out, my life savings because, I need companionship. This is why we're doing body mindfulness. We're doing body mindfulness because we need to learn how to love ourselves and not look for our validation in other people. When we get into a relationship, it should be something beautiful. It should be something mutual. Sure, there might be a imbalance of give and take from time to time, and that's okay. Sometimes it might be 50-50, sometimes it might be 60-40, sometimes it might be 70-30 or 80-20 or 90-10. But as long as you come back to the 50-50, that's great. And it could be because, you want to do something nice for someone. If someone does something nice for you, I'm going to say this because I have a hard time with it when people do something nice for me. When I do something nice for somebody, just because I feel like it always kind of makes me feel bad when they're like, oh, you didn't have to do that, because I feel like I've made them uncomfortable. Just say thank you. Somebody's gone out of their way to do something kind for you, not for any other reason, but to just be kind. I mean, I love doing stuff for people. It makes me happy. But I'm also learning how to fill my own cup with my own joy. It's just a bonus feeling. And that's what it should feel like. Any relationship you're in, any type of relationship. But most importantly, the relationship with you. The relationship with you has to be 100%. You know, your self-love needs to be at 101%. Because there are going to be those days when we feel like 99% and we really need to get back to that 101. You know, and even if we reach 100, right, that feels max. So just keep that extra little percentage in there. But this is what body mindfulness is all about. It's about seeing ourselves, being ourselves. And maybe if we can learn how to love ourselves, how to just love who we are in this moment at this time, we can spread a prettier light, a brighter light out there than the negative ones that are out there. People always feeling like they're on the defensive because they're afraid to say anything. People, you know, like there are times when I want to post stuff and I think, you know, that I think is funny, and it's like, yeah, I don't think I want to deal with the backlash because people don't get my humor. My humor can be very dark, you know, and I mean, not like, I don't know, not super dark, but you know, I have an awkward sense of humor. But and you know, on Facebook everybody knows, because like I said, they know me, you know, these are people I know. But yeah, on regular social media, you know, it's hard because you worry that somebody's gonna just take it the wrong way, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, you know, then it becomes a whole thing. It becomes a whole thing, and I just don't have the capacity to deal with that kind of stupidity. I don't. You know, for the people that do put things out there because they're news, you know, like the news stuff, you know, more power to you, because I don't know how you deal with the trolls. I don't. You know, I got thrown to the trolls last year and I absolutely did not appreciate it, and I decided to change my path and be a little more enlightened, awakened. You know, I was going through an awakening, and you know, it has taken patience, and patience has never been my strong suit. Patience is something I struggle with immensely. So now that I've talked your ear off about all that stuff, I wanted to say that because I think it's very, very important for us to understand that patience is huge. Patience is a big thing. And I think this world is lacking a lot of patience. You know, if you overhear somebody's conversation, you get all pissed off and you confront them about it, stay out of it, because you don't know what they're talking about. You absolutely do not know what they're talking about. You could be taking something out of context because you heard part of the conversation. They may be quoting somebody, and you're getting all up, well, I can't believe you think this way, but you're so mad that you're not going to hear what they're saying. So you're automatically going to be pissed for the rest of the day, or you're going to hate them for forever, even though you don't know them. It's just stupid. It's stupid. You know, for the people that believe in the balance, right? The battle of good and evil, stop letting everything poke you. Like literally, it's like poking your brain going, hey, you know, how much did we like that when we were kids, right? Like, hey, you need to think better. Oh no. I had a family member that did that to me once. No immediate family member, but an older one. Just like, oh hell no. But when I was a kid, it made me cry. It made me feel bad. So we need to, I feel like I'm echoing in the hallway. So we need to be better. All right. So today's card is patience. And thank you for having patience while I went through my whole diatribe there. This card brings the message that you must be patient and trust divine timing. Humans are anxious creatures. We know what we want, and we want it now. But we are also working in collaboration with the divine, which means that sometimes we have to wait longer than we would like. Looking to the earth can be helpful when we are working to cultivate patience. We cannot rush the seasons. A tadpole cannot rush its metamorphosis. A tree cannot rush its growth. This card asks you to have faith that your own process is happening in perfect time. A turtle is a call... Oh, I love turtles. My little honus. A turtle is a call towards steady determination. Sometimes people who struggle with patience decide to give up on something simply because they are unable to wait for things to come into fruition. Any delays discourage them. Something to note about turtles is that their land speeds are about 3 to 4 miles per hour, but their speed in the water is 10 to 12. I would say faster, because turtles swim pretty fast. This is a reminder that if we are patient and wait for the right time, we will have less resistance and make more progress. The spirited turtle calls for resolve, grit, and persistence. You can call upon turtle when you need assistance in sustaining consistent effort in your long-lasting adventure. So, a long time ago, there was a movie with Tom Selleck, Bess Armstrong, and Wilford Brimley. And the other, oh God, I can't think of the other guy's name, but I see him all the time. And there was they were going through, it was called High Road to China, right? And they're looking for the girl's dad, and she's worried that, she's like a socialite, and she's freaking out because he's gone, and, she needs to learn these lessons because she's like a party girl. And one of the quotes was in there was, the oxen move slow, but the earth is patient. And this movie came out when I was a kid, but I think I finally understand it. The earth will wait for them to move. It keeps going. It keeps doing its own thing. The earth is just doing its own thing, and yeah, sure, the oxen are moving slow, but the earth is patient with them. The earth understands. It knows the land speeds that it needs to be at. You could put any animal in there. The turtle is slow, but the earth is patient, right? But the minute they get in the water, poof, they're out. They're out. They're like, wow. They're like little speed demons in the water. And I think that's a lot of different things, right? I mean, you take a fish out of the water, you put it on a boat, and it's flopping around dying. But you put it in the water, and that thing's gone. And so, I'm not really sure where the fish, metaphor comes in. But maybe that's how we are. Maybe we get so caught up in impatience that we're like that fish flopping around on the deck. We're like that fish flopping around on the pier or the sand. Or, if you're changing the water in the tank and they're flopping around on the floor going, oh my God, I'm dying, please put me back in the water. And then you do, and they're swimming around like, I'm out, bye. And maybe that's what it is. We have to be patient. We have to trust. We have to trust that everything is going to work out. So instead of flopping on the ground thinking that that's the end of the world, we have to be patient and trust that, fish may not be the best metaphor, because some people are catching fish for dinner. So I know, not the best one. But if you're, never mind, I don't know. I'll find a better metaphor, or I won't. But the point is when we're impatient, I think we're putting out the wrong vibe. And we are heading ourselves off at the pass, and we're making it nearly impossible for us to get through because we're in our own way. And I'll be honest with you, patience is not my strong suit, as I mentioned. I'm getting better at it. But as I'm talking about this and as I'm saying all this, I'm realizing that, maybe we just have to be okay with what we're at, where we're at now. Maybe you don't have all the things you want. Maybe you don't, and that's yet, yet. You're still breathing. You're still alive. That doesn't mean these things can't be yours. It doesn't mean you're going to die alone. It doesn't mean, I get a little offended with people. Oh yeah, I'm going to die alone and be a cat lady. It's like, come on. Seriously, not everybody owns cats. But I mean, I get it. But that's because, I have to tell you, cats are some of the most patient creatures in the world. I mean, I have 2 kitties every morning that demand treats. And, they get 1 or 2 a day. I mean, they get a handful, okay, like the request or the directed amount. But they're just every morning. It's like I don't even have my coffee. And one of my boy, George, he will just sit on the arm of my chair, so patient. And I just look at him like, how do you do that? Like, seriously, I changed chairs this morning. And he was still sitting on the arm of my chair. And it's just like, wow. And he's more siblings kitty than mine, but, and I say that just because he's more, he trusts her more, and Pixel kind of trusts us both, but Pixel, I think she leans a little more towards me because, she'll sleep with me a lot, but instead of older sibling. But I think, to me, cats are a really good example of patience. They'll sit there. I mean, yeah, they might start screaming at you for a while, but, and dogs can be too. Dogs sit there and, you sit there and train them to do this stuff. In their heads, they're probably thinking, yeah, I just want the treat. Stick your trick in your ear, people. But then dogs love to be loved. Cats love to be loved. You You have to find the right ones. You know, if you're going to treat a cat like you think there's, in the way that everybody thinks they're going to be assholes. But so can dogs, right? So can, your pet anything. Your pet anything, but all my kitties have always been lovable, but I mean, Pixel was the one that I never thought in my life would be a cuddler. And because she's the alpha. I mean, I think she's the alpha over Sibling and I too. She's the alpha in this house. And, but she's just lovey. And, I don't know where I ended up with that. Oh yeah, because the patience. Cats and dogs can be very, very patient. And cats especially. But there's a lot that we can learn from our furry friends. There's a lot we can learn from any animal. But I like that quote. The oxen move slow, but the earth is patient. And I think that's what it is. We just have to wait. Life may feel like it's moving like an ox, but the world's still turning. Your life is still going, and you will make it from point A to point B. Even when life feels like it's just stopped. Sometimes maybe we need to give it a little injection of love, a little bit of an energy boost, right? Feed it some mental caffeine. Not actual caffeine, but mental caffeine, give it some energy, give it a little poof, give it a little pump, and just let it grow. It's like it says, a tadpole cannot rush its metamorphosis, a tree cannot rush its growth. You don't plant a seed and expect a tree the next day, right? It takes time. Where my dad lives, he's lived there now for 35 years. Wow, 35 years. He's lived there now for 35 years, and I remember the tree that sits in front of my bedroom window is it's so tall now. It's so tall. And I've literally watched that tree grow over the last 35 years, and it's been incredible. It kind of blocks my view now, but and there was another tree that grew taller than the buildings, and 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 sadly they had to cut it down because it was kind of it was damaged. It was dying. I think it got the tree disease. But yeah, we just have to be patient, right? I was telling my dad, because my dad's like, I don't understand how these spiders always get on my patio. Well, my dad lives on the top floor of his condos, okay? And I told him, I said, sometimes they're so light, the breeze will take them and their webs and just transport them. They'll just poof. And so, they'll end up in, they land where they land, right? Talk about going with the flow. I mean, you were literally a creature being lifted by the wind, carried somewhere else, and then, ooh, let's start a new life here. And I think we forget that as humans, we have that capability. We just have to believe in ourselves. Sometimes we worry so much about money that we forget to enjoy what we have now. Sometimes we worry so much about being, single that we forget, that, hey, look at all the stuff we've done. Or you forget that it's like, would you rather be in a relationship you're not supposed to be in? Or would you rather be in one that you've waited for and is loving and fulfilling? There's a side to everything. Sometimes my cousins sit there and will say, my cousins who are married will sit there and say, wow, what, you're so lucky because you can just pick up and do whatever you want. But my cousins can too. Their spouses are just like, okay. My parents were like that. My parents were very whimsical. But I mean, that's how it is sometimes. And when you have that beautiful kind of relationship, you can't just say, okay, well, I'm going to go do this today. Do you want to go? Nah, all right. Have fun. Okay, bye. And, but I tell them, I said, the grass is always greener on either side. It's like, I have to go to bed sleeping with a cat. I spoon a cat at night, which is fine with me because she's just, like I said, I think I talked her up enough. But the grass is greener on both sides. I'm one of those people that, I have to feel it to be in it. And, but I think back and I think of all the things I've done. I think of all the things I've done that I may not have done. So, we just got to make the best out of it, right? We got to learn how to make, the lemon drop martinis when someone hands you a lemon, right? Forget the lemonade. Screw that. Let's get some, vodka and vermouth or whatever they put in their lemon drops, and let's have a good time with those. But yeah, patience is everything. And I feel like myself, I've learned a lot just by listening to what I've been saying. Because these are not, like I said, this is not something I'm good at. It's not something I'm easy with. When I say I want something done like now, it's like, why isn't it done? But people move at their own speeds. And there's obviously a reason for everything. And, I remember, God, I can't remember what it was, but older sibling and I were going somewhere, and I just told her, I said, well, I figure we leave when we leave. And I was trying not to rush us. I was trying not to do this, that, or the other. I was just trying to go with the flow the best that I could. And everything worked out the way it was supposed to work out. So that was probably my first real memory of having patience. So, and I think sometimes the lack of patience comes from the need to control everything around us, to control every aspect of every moment. And it's hard to do that. It's hard to do that. I mean, I think lists are great. I started making a list again because I've gotten out of that, and I need to get back to being productive, and I need to get back to, really kind of being in my head again. And I think I'm finally in a place where I can deal with these spirals that I have a little bit easier, because I'm learning how to be patient with myself. Patience isn't just about what's happening around you. Patience is being patient with yourself. And if you're wondering why it's a huge part of body mindfulness, it is absolutely a huge part of body mindfulness. If you're trying to get fit, or you're trying to lose weight, or you're trying to gain weight in some people's cases, it's not going to happen like that. Sometimes I had a friend who needed a surgery, but she was too underweight because she had been so sick, because she needed an organ removed, but the organ in her were knocking heads. And so it took her a year to gain back all that weight. And she was so impatient because, she's dealing with this medical issue, but the only way to take care of the medical issue is to gain weight back. I had one of my cousins, her boo was having the same problem. It's like he was losing weight because there was an issue with one of his organs. Didn't need to have it removed, but they needed to kind of balance it. And so, that took patience. For me, getting to a place where I'm comfortable and feeling healthier and, able to be a little bit more active and energetic, it's taking patience for me. And so, body mindfulness, like I said, it doesn't care what size you are. Or body negativity definitely doesn't care what size you are. It will come at you in any way that it can if you don't love yourself. Body mindfulness is teaching us, no matter what size we wear, no matter how tall we are, how short we are, how wide or not wide we are, how thick or thin we are, to just love ourselves in these moments, to be patient with ourselves, to stop shaming ourselves if we make a mistake. We got to stop putting so much into, and I mean nothing by this, but I was reading a thing the other day, and someone's I went to the gym, which means I can put a banana in my protein shake. And I thought, I remember being like that. Now, I don't know what their mindset is. Maybe that's just their thing. Maybe they have a sugar issue. I don't know. And it's possible that they have a sugar issue. I know my cousin can't eat bananas because, she's only got one kidney, because she gave the other one to her sister. So too much potassium is not good for her, obviously. Too much potassium and your heart's going to stop. But, and that doesn't mean be afraid of bananas, guys, all right? She just doesn't metabolize it well. So, because me, I love a banana. I love bananas. But yeah, I was just thinking about that, and it made me think about myself and how hard I can be on me. If I eat that cookie or cookies, and all of a sudden it's like I go down that rabbit hole of shaming myself. And she wasn't shaming herself. She was just saying, I'm so excited. I went to the gym. I could do this now. But it made me think about me, and made me think about how I approach things, and how incorrectly I sometimes approach these things, because shaming ourselves doesn't work. That's body negativity. We're shooting for body positivity. We're shooting for body mindfulness. And body mindfulness means you need to be patient. You need to be patient with yourself, and you need to give yourself some slack. You need to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, so like I said, if you're an emotional leader like I am and you fall off the wagon, don't shame yourself. Don't go down that rabbit hole. Just get back up and, stand up where you fell. Okay, just stand up where you fell. But don't shame yourself. Don't make yourself feel bad. If you feel like you need to shame yourself and feel bad, journal it. All right, journal it. Get it out of you. Get it out of you. Don't give it any space in your head. Don't let anything live rent free in your head that is going to tear you down. If you want something to live rent free in your head, make it something positive. Make it something beautiful. Remind yourself that when you look in the mirror, I'm still breathing. Today is just today. Tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. I mean, that's the one thing we have to remember. It's the scariest thought in the world, right? Sometimes I try to go to sleep and I think that thought will literally pop into my head and it's like, oh, am I going to wake up tomorrow? And then I sit there freaking out about it till I wake up the next morning. It's like, oh, okay. But then I wasted that whole time thinking about it. Just love who you are in this moment, in this time. When you see your reflection in anything, don't shame yourself. When you see your shadow, don't shame yourself. Just love who you are. Love that person that you're seeing in that shadow, in that reflection, in that mirror. Be patient with yourself. You need to give yourself the kindness and patience that you would afford anybody else. I know it seems simple to say that, but you know what? It really is easy. I can't believe how different my mindset is now from when we first started this. And it's been quite the journey. Even my doctor and I were talking about that, it's been quite the journey. She inspired it. My doctor, Dr. Cardano, she inspired this whole series. She made me think about how we treat ourselves and how we put ourselves down. And it was just out of a conversation she and I were having. And I thought, man, I really, really need to buckle down and get better at this. Right, so I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Tomorrow is day 24, and the topic will be reclaim. Reclaim. All right, so last week for day 22, it was reflect. To go with the patience thing today, I want to remind you about reflection. What emotions do you find yourself experiencing continuously? What situations do you find yourself in often? If you are finding unease in any area of your life, have you experienced it before, and when? When was the first time you remember feeling this way? Sort through these questions because this can help you find the patience that you need to move forward and move through each moment. When you feel like you're starting to get tense or you feel like you're about to lose your shit and, Mount Brain is about to explode, take a deep breath. Count to 10. Do all these things you need to do. I need to also, because there are times I'm just like, oh my God. And I forget that I'm trying not to be so controlling of my life anymore, to just learn how to go with the flow. I mean, yeah, we've got responsibilities, but outside of those responsibilities, I need to learn to just go with the flow, to let things happen as they're meant to happen, So again, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so, so much for watching. Yeah, patience. I'll see everybody back here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, Facebook Live. All lives are public. Anybody can watch. It's under Shelly Marie Lucas, or you can catch the replay on YouTube under the Aloha Perspective. I also share it to my Facebook page, the Aloha Perspective. And for those of you who don't have like 45 minutes to an hour to listen to me yammer on, I do a short TikTok version, which is 10 minutes or less. All right. So again, have a great, great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day.